All right, welcome everybody back to the second episode of Disputed. This one's a really special episode because we got all of our picks right. And when I say we, I mean Joey. So shout out the man, the myth, the legend, the teller of the future, the MMA expert. Went 5 for 5 and got the big parlay. So I wanted to shout out to you really quick, Joe. You have anything to say?
Thank you. And all I would like to say is the first time is lucky, the second time is coincidence, and the third is a pattern. So we're gonna do very good work tonight, and Saturday is gonna be a very good day.
No, it's amazing. And now we decided, hey, Disputed, first episode, we brought in a big gun, but now we need to bring in, the whole army. So here with Joey to debate him because obviously I can't even say anyone's name correctly as we saw in last episode. So we need some true star power in here. So brought Zach and Alex. How are you guys doing?
Doing good. Had to bring in the bigger guns other than Joey being the big gun. So, happy to be here and talk some UFC.
Yeah, happy to be here. Can't wait to just talk about stuff about UFC that I don't know about, and then to have my pick be the one that wins.
That's awesome. So with that being said, though, I think we should really get into the UFC 324 recap. And the first question I kind of want to throw out to everybody is fight of the night. Is it just as obviously Patty, Justin Gaethje, or do we have another fight that we wanted to think was fight of the night? Maybe it was Derek Lewis Waldo.
Can I interrupt real quick? Can I just say something really fast? So I have two things. So the first thing is Gaethje. Gaethje.
Whatever,
Gaethje.
Gaethje.
Justin
Listen,
Gaethje.
I'm just the
So
moderator, man. And
that's
we're gonna
okay.
get
That's okay.
by
So
the end
the
of the UFC season, we're gonna get there with the names.
Yeah, so the second thing I just want to talk about really really fast. I bought a new camera today, and I bought this camera at Best Buy. One of the things that's kind of new with technology right now is there's all switching to USB-C cords. It's like the iPhone charger cord. It's what they're all taking now. So this camera that I have right now is hooked into my 2015 PC. So my 2015 PC does not have a USB-C port, so I had to get an adapter. So I looked up and down the Best Buy aisle and I was approached by a young man and he asked me if I needed help finding anything. I told him what I needed help with and he led me to another aisle. He handed me a USB-C to USB-A adapter. Now, it wasn't an adapter, it was both the male parts. So it's like if you had your laptop, like an Apple laptop, a Mac, you would hook one part of it, the USB-C, into it, and then you would hook the USB-A part of it into the other part, right? That requires that plug-in. So there was no female part. So that wasn't what I was looking for. So I had to go back into the other aisle and try to find this thing. So I'm searching, and about 10 minutes pass. He comes back up to me and he says, "Hey man, what can I help you with? You're still looking." And I was like, "Well, listen, maybe I didn't explain this properly to you the first time. I need a USB-C, the female part, and a USB-A male part." And he says, "Oh, okay, cool. Let me take you there." He takes me back to the same aisle and he hands me the same thing again. And I ask him, "Hey man, listen, I don't know where we're getting our wires crossed here, but I feel like I have explained this pretty well.
Intended.
Where where are we getting wrong?" And he was like, "Oh, you know what? You can either use this or you can use another thing." And he hands me a USB-C to USB-A, both male parts, with the on part of a little USB-A adapter. So it doesn't work because it takes just another USB-A male part. So that being said, I don't know if Best Buy has a policy where you can't tell me that you don't have a part or something that I'm looking for, but just say that you don't have it. I found it. I had to go to Walmart. Walmart didn't have it. I had to go to Home Depot. Home Depot, out of all places, had it. So I was able to get it, and now I'm able to use it. But young man, if this ever gets back to you, could you please just tell me you don't have it in whatever way doesn't violate your policy, whatever way doesn't get you in trouble? Just say, "We here at Best Buy don't provide this item," and I would have happily left. So I just wanted to get that out of the way. and express that it's not the guy's fault. He's just some guy trying to make money. It's the world's fault for switching to this weird USB-C, USB-A. It's too much stuff. So I just wanted to get that off my chest before we began today. So what was your question? UFC fight of the night.
Support show now.
UFC fight of the night. You know what? I think it's really hard to argue.
You just
that
wasted 15 minutes of our time.
It's very
for no
It's
reason.
very hard that Justin. It's very hard to argue that Justin Gaethje and Patty Pimblett was not fight of the night. I would provide for you that Arnold Allen versus John Silva was a spectacular match. Both of those gentlemen, very, very talented fighters. And as I predicted in the last Benchtalk podcast, it would be a great fight. That was my fight of the night, personally.
So Allen Silva's your pick.
Arnold Allen, John Silva is my pick for fight of the night.
How about you, Zach?
That's an interesting take. I think that was a good fight, but, don't listen to me. Don't listen to Joey. Listen to Daniel Cormier when he said in the middle of the Patty versus Gaethje fight, all the fights tonight have sucked, so at least we have a good main event. That Arnold fight was good, but I feel like that Patty Gaethje fight, like you can't compare the two. Arnold Allen, I say that was an underrated fight, but the main event, they were cracking each other. It wasn't super technical, was a little goofy, but in terms of pure entertainment for the fans, I feel like basically anyone would say that the main event was the most fun. Maybe for more specialists and more people in the nerdy side of MMA, the John Silva Arnold Allen fight was good, but I think the main event was by far the best fight on the card and has the most people talking.
Al, you represent the casuals.
Yeah, I was going to say the O'Malley fight, but I feel bad picking it now just because I'm an O'Malley fan.
Yeah,
He's
you
the
should.
only fighter that I really knew on the card besides Patty. And maybe Justin Gaethje, but yeah, I'm going to... The O'Malley fight was all right. The last round was sick,
Yeah.
but the first two rounds were kind of boring.
Now I'm gonna say this really quick about the O'Malley fight. When I watched that fight, I remembered how much I hate watching Sean O'Malley fight. Like, this guy could get picked up and put on the ground by like a toddler. Like, I just think, how can you be a professional in this sport and half of the sport? Like, look at what all the Russians are doing right now. They are just ground and pound, like going takedowns. You're never gonna be a champion again if you cannot defend a takedown. And watching him get takedown, and I know he won the fight, and everyone's like, "Oh, Sean O'Malley fought so well." I don't care. As a casual, he just kept getting put on the ground, and it made me angry. Like, why are we taking this guy seriously?
Great point. I don't know. It's a great point.
Look at the two losers right here at their face. They're just waiting to rebuke it.
I'm giving that to Zach. Zach can take that.
Yeah, this might be a hot take. Watching the fight live, I honestly thought that Sean O'Malley might have lost the fight. I thought the first two rounds you could have, he didn't do much action. In the third round, he looked fantastic. And I kind of had this thought that it could take him a little time to warm up in the fight. He's had 3 title fights in a row, 3 5-rounders in a row. If you go from that to a 3-rounder, you're going to be slow to warm up. So I think he did what he had to do in that third round. But, arguably, depending on the judges, I feel like he could have lost that fight. In terms of O'Malley not being a good ground guy, yeah, we all know that. We've known that this entire time, this entire career. We don't see wrestling highlights. We see knockout highlights from Sean O'Malley. And most of the knockout highlights are knocking out bums that no one really knows who they are, honestly. So I think Sean O'Malley is a very high-level fighter. But in terms of championship level, I think he's right outside the top 3-4 guys. I think Sean O'Malley's a great 5 to 10 top guy, and unfortunately, I don't think he will ever get a title shot unless Dana wants to get his pay-per-view numbers up or Paramount numbers up and give him a title shot against Peter Yan. What do you think, Joey? Do you think Dana's going to give O'Malley a fast pass to that title since he's a big money name?
I think so. Here's the problem with Sean O'Malley. The only issue I had with that fight is that I thought his ground game would have improved. I thought, having fought Merab 2 times, and not for nothing, his takedown defense in those fights, in those first few rounds, it really wasn't the worst in the world. He's not a terrible fighter when it comes to actually stuffing takedowns, when it comes to takedown defense. I think this was a situation that a lot of fighters get in where the fight is harder than you thought it was going to be. And a lot of those fights end in a loss for that fighter. I don't think Sean O'Malley should have lost that fight. I can obviously see, just because of the way the sport is and the way we have judges, sometimes they get it wrong. I think the judges got it right. I think Sean won the fight, just round one, round three, kind of deal. I think he took a little bit to get going, and I think that might have had something to do with the fact that he's used to 5-round fights. He definitely came alive in that third round, and if that was a whole fight, it definitely would have been a better outcome for Sean. But listen, at the end of the day, he got the nod unanimously. You really can't ask for much more than that, other than to finish the fight. I give props to him in terms of him getting back to the title. I think they're probably going to set him up with Corey Sandhagen. That will be a very technical match, I think. Corey Sandhagen has gotten a lot more emphasized on the ground. He's a lot better of a wrestler than he used to be. So he will probably look to take Sean O'Malley down and have that fight kind of go the way that this fight went. He's got to work on his takedown defense. I think if he does that, I see him going back to the title. I don't see him beating Corey Sandhagen just for that grappling aspect, but
So how's he going to get to the title if he can't beat Sandhagen?
It's the same way anybody gets to a title shot. You have the mandate of the masses. Sean O'Malley needs a good win to have the mandate of the masses. I also think if we're just talking about skill, I think he's up there with any of the top guys on any given day. It just kind of depends on what that day is. Again, he has a win over Petr Yan. That is a disputed win, but really it's not. He won all according to all three judges. I don't believe that was a split decision. He won unanimously in that fight as well. So I think at the end of the day, it matters that fans want to see Sean O'Malley. I think fans want to see Sean O'Malley after that fight. I think fans also want a little more of Yadong after that fight as well.
Of who's dong?
Yeah.
Song's dong.
Awesome. Now, last thing on UFC 324, I think we need to have a little special segment here for the main event. I mean, what an absolute show that was. Gaethje.
What?
We're already improving. Gaethje Pimblett. I just want to say here, we have someone on the pod who was, a Pimblett fan, the whole time, and was really just hoping he'd win against our fellow American, someone who's just fighting for their country, against these Englishmen who used to, be in charge of us. Anything to say?
Yeah, Joey, you have anything to say?
It's me?
No,
I
not
got
you.
it.
It's
Listen. Here's why you have to go for Patty. Because, one, I understand he's not from the U.S., but he is what every U.S. person dreams of being. He goes 4 months out of the year. No, 4 months out of the year at like 155 pounds. The rest of the year, he's like 250 and loves his life. He is the dream. He's the American dream. It's just eat all you want, cut it all off. Eat all you want, cut it all off. Tell me I'm wrong.
Well, it doesn't seem to translate too well in MMA when you get your ass beat in 5 rounds by Justin Gaethje. It's a fun story. I feel like, I'm kind of indifferent to Patty. I'm not super high on him, super not high on him. I actually had him winning against Justin in this fight, but I think that fight just showed that Patty doesn't have what it takes to kind of be on that next level and contend for a title. I think he's a solid guy. I think he's kind of like a Sean O'Malley, top 5 to 10 type guy, but fans love him. Fans want to see him win the title, but ultimately probably will never happen just because he doesn't have the skills to beat those top 5.
No, he does. I think if anything, that Gaethje fight absolutely shows Patty Pimblett belongs there. Patty Pimblett belonged in that fight. Listen, it was not a close fight. Justin Gaethje very clearly won. It was a competitive fight. He had Gaethje rocked. At the end of the day, if you're Patty Pimblett, you're in the company of Dustin Poirier, Donald Cerrone, Edson Barboza, Michael Chandler. You lost to Justin Gaethje.
None of those have ever won
It's
a title, by the way. Just saying.
No, they haven't won it. Well, okay, hold on a second.
Undisputed, not interim. Not
see,
interim.
see,
Undisputed.
we can't judge it like that,
Undisputed
though,
champion.
can we? Dustin Poirier is a interim lightweight
He's a legend.
champion.
He's a legend. He's
right?
a great,
So
great guy.
here's my only point. If we're going just off of hardware, we can bring up the fact that there have been numerous champions that have looked like they don't belong. This same sentiment was told about Charles Oliveira. Charles Oliveira came back and went on a 3-fight title run, right? Or sorry, a 3-fight defense streak, right? Where he should have actually defended against Justin Gaethje when he fought him. That the weight, whatever happened with the scale that night, or the night prior, that had him stripped of the belt. But listen, I think Patty Pimblett has nothing to be ashamed of. It was a very good fight. If there's one takeaway Patty needs to take from this, put your chin down, and you're good. Like, legitimately, if you just put your chin down, put your hands up, you are a very precise striker. You have very good grappling. Justin Gaethje, like I said, he is an NCAA wrestler. He is very, very good wrestling pedigree that most UFC fighters don't even possess. I absolutely see him, as long as Islam Makhachev doesn't come back, and Ilia Topuria, I'm not really sure what the future is for him. He says he's coming back. I don't know if he is coming back. If he's gone, I think Patty Pimblett is the guy. I think Patty Pimblett is, of the top 5 lightweights, I think he's the best, and or the second best at least. Once Gaethje retires, he is the guy. He's the best.
Yeah, I mean, coming from the casual perspective of the pod, I would like to say I knew Gaethje was going to win. That was my one take, that I knew was going to win. I said it in the last pod. I said it all day, that Patty was going to lose, and I really love Patty as a fighter. I feel like he's like a people's fighter. Everyone loves him. I feel like you can't really hate the guy. He's kind of, like Alex said, he's relatable to a lot of, people. When you got a guy, I would never ever bet against the Gaethjes, the Holloways, the Poiriers, of the world, because I just feel like they do not go down. Like, they will not die. It takes so much to knock those guys out. It takes so much to beat them that they just will not die.
Patty didn't die, though.
Yeah, but he lost.
Yeah, but it's the same take.
So
it's the same take. So just add
But
Patty
Gaethje
there.
won. It's all right. Gaethje won.
I want to say one thing real quick. I guess this is kind of in defense of Patty a little bit, but let's talk about the 2 eye pokes that Justin did when Patty. UFC and MMA needs to fix their refereeing and scorecarding. It doesn't make sense. In any other sport, in football, if you have a hold call, you get a penalty. In basketball, if you foul someone, you get 3 points. MMA is the only sport where you can continually do fouls and nothing happens. For any eye poke, kick to the groin, any serious foul like that, I think the ref needs to take an automatic 1 point, because it doesn't matter if it's on accident or not. In all these other sports, it's based on whether you commit the foul or not. Why can Justin, commit 2 eye pokes? One, the referee saw, gave a hard warning. The other one, the referee didn't see. If this didn't happen, I'm not saying that Patty would have won the fight, but these MMA, fouls are kind of ridiculous. Take the Tom Aspinall Cyril Gane fight. That ruined the entire fight, and the ref wasn't even going to take a point. The MMA system makes no sense in terms of how they handle fouls, and I feel like the viewers are really sick of this. I've seen this countless times against countless fighters, and even though that didn't maybe impact the fight in a way where Patty would have won this time, there's going to be another title fight where there are fouls that people talk about when the fight's a lot closer.
Yeah, I would like to add something to that. I agree with you, fully. I don't know what the right answer is, but I think that something needs to be done. But there are sickos in this world, like this guy Jesus, who loves the eye pokes because it just gives his guy the edge. This guy's a sicko in his mind. You have a sick brain. He was celebrating eye pokes the whole entire night. You're a sicko. The pod needs to know that.
For context, everybody, there needs to be context here. I was in the art of the rage bait that night, and it was great. Everybody was Team Patty, and in classic Jesus style, I pick the underdog. I pick the guy that nobody wanted to win, and he wins. And everyone complains, and I'm an insufferable winner. And I continue to talk trash to everybody.
Dude, it was
and it's
a
great.
bullshit
And
win. It was a bullshit win. Let me just stab you in the eye and then try and fight you for another 15 minutes.
He need to take an automatic point. 1 point for any foul like that. I don't know why they haven't done it. They need to do away with these hard warnings. I think fighters won't commit as many fouls if they know it's an automatic 1 point. Fighters know they can kind of get away with it. You see them in fights, the ref with their fingers out, like John Jones style, and the ref is like, oh, put your fingers down. Like, no more hard warnings. Just take a point and they'll start listening, and it'll change the sport for the better. That's my opinion.
You have any thoughts on that, Joe?
If you're not cheating, you're not trying. I think you have to get.
You can't punish the cheater. So you can cheat right now. You're allowed to cheat.
Listen, it's the same. It's the same kind of thing with football. It's kind of like if you called a holding penalty if you expected refs to call a holding penalty on every play, it would happen every play. It would happen to every play would be blown dead. I think the best route, obviously, we've seen it. It's the gloves. We got those new gloves that had the extra padding. Nobody really liked those. The Trevor Whitman gloves have been the talks in MMA circles forever. That's never happening. I really don't know what the answer is other than
taking a point.
I do think taking a point would do something, but I think above anything, it's a training scar. If you've ever just been in a room with people sparring, it happens. Like that's not something that's uncommon. People don't really spar with their hands like this, which is how you're expected to fight. You're expected to fight with your hands like this. Even when you're getting trained, you're kind of trained, hey, when you throw a punch, you kind of hold it like an egg in your hand and you snap it and you close that fist on connection, or close to connection. So it's one of those things where it's not as simple as, well, if we just take a point from everybody, it's going to fix it. I think fighters will be a little less inclined and they'll be a little more aware of it for the duration of the fight. But I think it'll still happen the one time, and sometimes that's fight ending enough. But it is a problem in MMA. It's a very MMA specific problem. It's a very unique problem to this sport in particular. One of those things where really I think the only solution is the gloves. I think the solution is to have those better gloves, and I just don't see that happening in a long time.
No, 100%. And I think speaking of the eye pokes, speaking of Justin Gaethje getting the dub, I think we should move into our winners and losers of the UFC 324.
The biggest loser is Denzel Freeman. Send that gentleman to Bellator, send him to the PFL. I don't care. Send him to his couch. I do not care where he goes. Denzel Freeman is, listen, I went 8 for 11 in terms of fight picks. I lost out on Denzel Freeman. I lost out on Rose Namajunas, who I thought should have won that fight. And I lost out on Patty Pimblett. I'm really only mad about Denzel Freeman because then we had to hear the whole Randy. What was that?
Randy Hockett. Yeah,
Hockett's whole ordeal that he decided to do. Which, listen, Josh Hockett, that's his name. Listen, I respect it. I like stuff like that. I thought it was just a little silly. So Denzel Freeman kind of made the viewer suffer. He made himself suffer. I think he is the biggest loser of the night.
I'm gonna throw you guys some names really quick, and I just want to hear winner loser from you guys. So first off, we'll start with an easy one. Toss up. We'll go from my left to right. So we'll go Alex, Zach, then finish off with you, Joe. Patty Pimblett, winner or loser, Al?
Loser.
And why?
He just lost the fight. I thought he should have won the fight. He just
That's fair enough.
Yeah,
fight, you lose, you're a loser. You're a loser.
Enough.
I also heard when he was cutting weight, he was hitting his vape, so he might kind of be a winner at the same time. So I don't know, loser, but hitting vape while cutting weight is kind of sick. So maybe a winner. Sorry,
no extra calories there.
Yeah.
Zach?
You know what? I'm gonna go winner because even though he lost the fight, I think it kind of still cements him in a top 5 type of ranking. He's still gonna get a high profile matchup. He's still gonna fight a top guy for his next fight. He didn't really lose a lot, and he gained a ton of fans just by how tough he was. Taking all those punches, taking all those strikes. And for both of those fighters, that was the most significant strikes they've ever landed. It was like 160 for Justin Gaethje. I think Patty even had more, like 170. So even though he lost the fight, I think Patty will be okay. He's young. Justin is 37, so he kind of needed that title shot right now. Patty has a few years left in the sport. I don't think he's going to win the belt anytime soon, but I think he'll be a top 5 to 10 contender for the rest of his career for 5, 6 years.
I think he's going to be a champion. He needs a good bounce back win. I imagine he'll get paired up with Arman Tsarukyan. That's a good fight for him. I think he wins that fight.
No, no.
I've seen nothing from Patty Pimblett to say that he does not have the uh, grappling defense or just the grappling skill necessary to take Arman Tsarukyan. He's the bigger guy. He's the stronger guy. He'll get back in the win column with that fight. Patty has a very good career ahead of him and definitely some hardware in his future.
All right. We'll get to this one, and I think this is going to be a controversial one here. Derek Lewis.
Derek Lewis is the biggest loser of the whole entire night. Like, it's time just to hang it up. He's got to be done. He's got to go. It's over. I think it's just a shame. It was a shame to watch it happen. The whole fight. It was just a shame. Giant loser.
Zach, Derek Lewis.
Winner, because I don't think Derek Lewis wants to win. I don't think he wants to be competitive. I think he wants to make as much money as he can at this point of his career and, go and lay on top of his wife, as he likes to say, and just live that MMA lifestyle. So I'm going winner, but I don't think Derek Lewis will ever have a win in the UFC again, honestly, after seeing that disappointment.
Derek Lewis. Joe?
I think I gotta kind of concur. I think I gotta kind of concur with Zach a little bit. Like, at the end of the day, this is it's combat sports. It's MMA, sure, but above all, it's prize fighting. He's had a very good career. If you want to go in the middle of the cage and lay down and have another grown man beat on you, then you know what? Who am I to say you're a loser? Go ahead and do it. It's world's your oyster. He's still got the most knockouts in UFC history. I'm sure that's probably pretty far away from being beaten. He's always going to be a winner. I would like to know why he laid down, but he's a winner.
This is going to be an interesting one I want to throw to you guys. Paramount Plus.
I think it's a winner. I think having not to pay an absolute crapload of money to watch a fight and being able to just do a monthly subscription for it, I think it's a winner. I enjoyed watching it, instead of the pay-per-views.
Paramount Plus.
I'm kind of caught. I think Paramount Plus is a winner, but I think a lot of UFC fans are partially a loser because when I was watching this main card, they were cutting out the entrances for all the fighters. They were kind of cutting out everything that makes UFC wholesome and the sport overall. In the earlier fights, they would also cut and do ads during the corner work. I'm like, I feel like we're almost losing the integrity of the sport a little bit, and it's becoming super commercialized and ad wise. And I get it. The UFC has to make their money. Paramount invested a ton to be exclusive, so they got to make their ads. It just kind of makes me sad that the sport seems to be a little more commercialized. With that being said, I think it's good that fans can watch at a much cheaper price than pay-per-views. But if we're being honest, 99% of UFC fans would just kind of stream it illegally before anyway. So people were still watching. That. Go ahead, Joe.
I have never done that.
I never have either. I'm just saying from all my friends, I hear they illegally stream.
I don't even know what a legal stream is.
I would say that those guys are criminals and they have committed a crime, and I think they should be locked.
I agree.
And if you're legally
Paramount
streaming
Plus, winner or
this,
So, if you're legally streaming this, we're coming after you. We will find you. We have your IP, and just count your days. So Paramount Plus, I think Paramount Plus is a winner. And as for, yes, the walkouts can be a huge part of it sometimes. Israel Adesanya was a fighter that always had a good walkout. Chris Barnett was always fun to watch walk out. I think, honestly, I have been watching hardcore since 2020. I'm going to say that again because I think that sounds terrible. I have been watching MMA constantly since I have been watching MMA constantly since 2020. The first fight I ever really watched was Stephen Wonderboy Thompson versus Tyron Woodley. So back when I was just watching casually, I really didn't care about the walkout. So if you're talking just as a casual fan, you put this on, you have a bunch of guys over, you're ordering pizza, you're ordering wings, you're having a beer. It's a huge win for the sport. It's nobody's really gonna. It's kind of like one of those things. A lot of people don't remember the custom fighter shorts where they were covered with ads. They were covered with their own sponsors. UFC did away with that when they got into the Reebok deal. I think that's one of those things that those fans miss. The walkouts, if they don't do it a different way, that'll be another one of those things that fans miss. But all in all, I think with the amount of eyes that get added to the sport, I think it's an absolute win. It's a win for MMA. It's a win for the UFC. And I think it's a definite win for Paramount.
Awesome. And I think with that being said, I think it's time to move to UFC 325. I think this card not only has the potential to be one of the best cards of the year, it is all the way in the land down under in Sydney, New South Wales, Australia. And interestingly enough, as a casual, I feel like, there's a lot of people in this card, facing these Australians and these Kiwis that they might upset them in their homeland. And so I think the early prelims. Now I'll ask you guys this: do you guys want to get into the early prelims, or you just kind of want to go from the prelims on up?
So I will say this: while I was showering, I learned how to say all these guys' names. So let me really quick,
because I don't know.
Yeah,
so.
let me really quick. So I learned how to say their names, and I watched a few of their highlights. We'll cover it very, very quickly. I honestly think so. I'll just start here. If you don't know, the first 4 fights, I don't believe that 5th fight on the early prelims is one of them, but the first 4 fights are all guys from a program called Road to UFC. It's one of those UFC Plus subscription based things that you can watch. Kind of something like the Ultimate Fighter, but it's all fighters out of Asia. A few of these guys. Series? It's kind of like it's basically kind of like the Contender Series Asia edition.
Okay.
So a lot of these guys are, all of them are unknown. But I think they're semi-popular just in that region of the country. So I think that'll have a lot of viewers with Paramount just for the early prelims. Aaron Tao versus Namsray Bat-Bayar. That's how you say that guy's name.
I thought you learned how to spell their names.
I did, but that one's kind of the hardest one on here.
Can we get Jesus trying to read some of these, please, before you read them all?
Yeah,
Right,
sorry.
Yeah, really quick. I can interrupt and I can read them out, and then you can correct me. We'll get your quick early prelim high level overview. We'll run through this segment pretty quick, and then we'll get into the prelims and the main card. So, Aaron Tao, Namsrai Bat-Bayar.
I'm gonna go Aaron Tao. Aaron Tao, just from the highlights I saw, he seems like the more well-rounded guy.
All right, Sulain Grangbo versus Lawrence Louis.
You got Lawrence right. And the other one, you're really close. Sulong Rongbo.
Sulong Dongbo. I said that the most like I said that name in the most like American in uncultured American way ever. Sulong Grangbo.
Yeah, I mean, you were really close. That's how I pronounced it first as well. I'll take. I'm also going to take him to win as well.
I agree. He's only got one. Well, on the screen, he's got kind of one name, and I think that is Aura, rather than having a first
It's
name.
kind of like Beyonce.
Yeah, kind of like Beyonce. Like you see Beyonce and it's Aura. All right, we got Keiichiro Nakamura versus Sebastian Salazar.
So you're absolutely right on Keiichi Nakamura and Sebastian Salai.
Salai. Who do you have there?
I'm going to be taking Nakamura because I like his name.
Okay,
Great
so all
pick.
the analysis we need here.
Love that.
Here we go. Sang-wook Kim versus Dom Marfan.
An absolutely beautiful pronunciation from Jesus. Both of those names are right. I'm taking Dunmar Fan. He seems to be the better looking gentleman.
Mm.
If you have the picture of them pulled up, it's a rude comment. All right, here we go. The last early prelim: Khan of Lee versus Yitsa.
Good on Khan. Yi Zhao is the other guy.
Man,
Yi
I thought I got that. I even put a little pronunciation on it, thinking I got it.
So I know a little bit about Khan Offley. He's a very good, well-rounded fighter. I have no idea who Yi Zhao is. He's 26-5, at 29 years old. So I'm very interested to see how he's gonna do. You don't ever want to base it off a record. There are people who have just very, very expansive MMA records, but I know Khan a little bit better, so I'm gonna take him here.
Okay.
Anyway.
All right. Anyway, moving into the regular prelims now, and now we'll get everybody kind of back in here. So first prelim fight of the night, we have Jonathan Micallef versus Oban Elliott, a Welshman versus an Australian. We'll start with you, Al. What's your casual take on this?
Give me the Aussie. Hometown advantage. Give me the Aussie.
Zach?
Who versus who?
Jonathan Micallef versus Oban Elliott.
I think who will win this fight. No one knows who any of these Australian local guys are. I'm sorry. Unless you're Joey and you're super deep. Most casual fans, you know Alex Volkanovski. That's Australian.
Facts.
Dan Hooker. He's from New Zealand. We know those guys. A lot of these local guys, I'm excited to see them put on a show. I feel like Australian cards are always great, but in terms of me giving picks, you can just skip right over me. I don't know any of these guys.
Yeah, Joe, what's your pick here?
So this is the Welsh gangster versus Jonathan. I really don't know how to say his name. I should have done a little bit more preparation.
Micallef.
So Micallef. I really don't know Micallef that well. Oban Elliott is a very good fighter. I believe he's coming off of a loss, unfortunately. I think he's a very entertaining fighter to watch. He was one of those guys that was kind of getting looked at. He actually lost his last fight to, I'm not going to try to say that name, but he lost it on the Hill versus Roundtree Jr. fight back in 2025. So this fight was actually scheduled back in September of last year. It got canceled. Oban Elliott fell ill. I hope he's doing better because I will be picking him and putting my money on him. Just a little little glimpse into the parlay later. Oban Elliott is the more well-rounded guy. He's got more UFC fights. I think he's got more experience. And as a matter of fact, the last time he was in Perth, he won. So I'm gonna take him to go ahead and do it again. He will win this fight.
Yeah, and from the eye test, Oban Elliott looks like a scary guy. I think if I saw him on the street, I would be very scared. He looks like he could beat me up. So next fight though, this one I actually think is probably going to be the most interesting prelim. At least I feel like I know the names here. Therese Finney versus Jacob Malkin. Al. All right, it's a great take, Al. Zach.
He's having a Wi-Fi problem. I hope Torres Finney wins because if he doesn't, he's probably going to get cut from the UFC because I feel like Dana doesn't really like him, and his style is one of the most interesting styles I've ever seen, but I don't think it's very fan friendly. So I hope he wins so he doesn't get unemployed.
So, Disputed is actually a Torres Finney fan show. We are very friendly to Torres Finney. I will be picking him to win
Torres!
this fight. So here's kind of
I love his saying.
here's kind of the way that I view this. Torres Finney is a very interesting fighter. He was on the Dana White Contender Series 3 times before he actually got a contract. Reason being is that Dana White felt that he was not giving his all into his performances. He's a perfect 11-0 in MMA. Jacob Malkoun is coming off of a win to, I believe, Andrei Arlovsky. Sorry, not Andrei Arlovsky. Who am I kidding? Andrei Petrovsky. That is my bad. Jacob Malkoun is coming off of a win to Andrei Petrovsky. Fun fact about Jacob Malkoun: he's the only fighter to ever knock anybody out with his hip. Essentially, Andre shot a takedown, landed on his hip, and he got knocked out. So,
Pretty badass.
I haven't seen anything super great from Jacob Malkoun. I believe he is the Aussie in this fight. Therese Finney, he's got very, very high level grappling. I would expect him to take this to a decision. Give me Therese Finney.
All right. We got Cody Brundage, Cam Rouston. What you got for me, Zach?
I kind of like Cody Brundage in this. I think he's the underdog. I think he's like plus 200. I was thinking about adding him to my parlay, but I think he can kind of surprise some people. So I'm going Brundage.
Cody Brundage can scrap. He is a very he's a very good fighter. One of those guys that you can just never count out. He's kind of the Tim Elliott of middleweight. I would venture to say, however, I think Cam Rouston is the more well-rounded guy. He's a very precise striker. I would imagine Cody Brundage is probably not going to take this to the ground. He'll try to stand and fight with Cam. I don't think he'll do very well in that. I think Cam Rouston is taking from the guidance of Israel Adesanya. Cam Rouston, again, last time he fought was in Perth. I expect him to win it again.
All right. Moving on to the last prelim fight. We got Billy Elikana versus Junior Tafa, and I think we have Alex back for the last prelim. What do you got for me?
So I'm gonna go on the prelim, and this was the Junior Tafa fight, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, give me Billy. Billy's got 4 first round finishes. I'm gonna go a first round finish with Billy in the down under. That's my pick.
Zach, what do you got for me? Junior Tafa, Billy Elikana.
I agree. I'm going Billy, and I don't think anyone should ever put their money on Junior. Just my personal advice.
Joe, last fight of the prelims. Who you got? Junior Tafa, Billy Elikana.
It's a shame. His older brother came to Perth, got knocked out. I do think the same is going to happen to. Unfortunately, the Tafa brothers just have not done very well in the UFC. Give me Billy. I think he is going to be the winner in this fight.
All right, so those are our prelim predictions. Now moving on to the main card. We have a really exciting main card. I think we have a bunch of good fights here to look at and a bunch of fun fighters as well. First off, I feel like I should start this off, I did some independent research here, and I think I'm going to tell the future. So I just want everyone to know that. So I won't be giving my picks till the end, and I want to hear what everyone else has. But I've done my independent research. I think I've got this main card down perfectly. So we'll start off, though, with the first lightweight bout. Oh, God. Keelan Salkeed versus Jamie Mularkey. Let's start with you, Al.
Joey, can you go ahead and tell me how to pronounce the first person's name? That way I don't say it wrong.
Jesus is, I believe Jesus is dead on. That's Keelan Salkeed.
Yeah, that's my pick. I think if you ever see a picture of this guy, he looks sick. He's got the
Killed.
sick mustache, and kind of he just looks sick. I'm not gonna lie, that's my pick.
What do you got for me, Zach?
I honestly don't know too much about either of these fighters, but Keelan is a minus 1,000 favorite, I believe. So we're just going where the money's going. We're picking him.
Joey, who do you have?
Keelan is the next guy at lightweight. He is a very, very tall, very strong 155 pounder. And when I say tall, he's the same height as Jamie Mularkey. But when you look at him, he looks like a very tall individual. He's kind of what I would like to call, like I am a very tall 5'10". He is a very tall 6 foot. He looks taller than what he's actually listed as. I think he's the better guy. Jamie Mularkey is, again, Dana White, Hunter Campbell has just really set this up to where we have very scrappy fights that have the potential for fight of the nights, knockouts. This is another guy, Jamie Mularkey, that is going to make it a fight. I think Killen is just he's the next killer at lightweight. I'm going to put my money on him.
Yeah, and I gotta say, anybody who looks like Ben Stiller from Dodgeball, I mean, that has got Mojo Dojo written all over it, and so that's why you gotta go with Kean right there. I mean, he just has the look. You can't ever bet against a guy with a handlebar mustache, and I'll tell you, that's who I'd put my money on every single time. But moving on to the next fight, Tai Tuvesa versus Taliesin Teixeira. It's the quadruple T's, TT versus TT. We all love TT. Alex?
Yeah, I'm gonna take Ty. I think he's got like 14 knockouts, 12 in the first round or something like that. I'm just going. My whole entire card picks are just based off of who has the most knockouts. I'm not gonna lie. So give me Ty, most knockouts, and that's my pick.
Zach, how are you feeling about this one?
I don't want to pick either of these guys. I think this is the biggest trap of the night. I would not include this in any of your parlays. Just because I want to say Teixeira will win just because he's more kind of skilled technically, but, Teixeira made Derek Lewis look like he was going to go on a world title run after their last fight. Derek Lewis knocked this guy out in 30 seconds, looked amazing. He looked like how Derek Lewis looked on his last fight. So I think you guys should stay away from both of these picks if you want to put them in your parlay, but since we have to pick, I'll go Teixeira.
All right, Joey, how do you feel about this one?
So, yes, Teixeira is coming off of a pretty bad knockout loss to Derek Lewis. I would just say that I think being the younger guy, he's a little more likely to bounce back. Tai Tuivasa is on a 5-fight losing streak currently. Last fight going to I believe it was a split decision. To be honest, I think when you say trap of the night, I have to agree with you. But the reason I have to agree with you isn't because I think either guy can win. I think this is going to be one of those heavyweight fights that go all 3 rounds. I would expect both of these guys to be a little gun shy. Teixeira after being knocked out, Tai after losing 5 and wanting to get a win. Give me Teixeira to win by decision.
All right, moving on to Rafael Fiziev versus Mauricio Ruffy. Al?
Yeah, you can go ahead. I don't know anything about either one of these fighters. I'm not even going to act like I know anything, so I don't have a pick for it. But if I had to just solely throw one out there, I would pick the Brazilian guy.
Alrighty. Zach, what do you got for me?
I think this is going to be a very underrated fight on the card. I'm a huge Rufi fan. His spinning wheel kick knockout of Bobby Green was one of the most beautiful knockouts I've ever seen. It's a really tough pick because I think Fiziev is more of that established veteran who had a super close fight with Justin Gaethje not too long ago. And Rufi is kind of one of the up-and-comers out of, what's it called, Joey? The nerd gym? What
The
do
Fighting
they call
Nerds.
it? Fighting Nerds, He's part of their gym. So I think I'll go Rufi on this one just because, he's younger, kind of up and coming on that trajectory. But wouldn't it surprise me if Fiziev pulls this out? I think it'll be a very close, entertaining decision fight.
Awesome, awesome. Joey, what do you got for me?
So Rafael Fiziev, he is honestly, I feel for him a little bit. He is coming off the loss to Justin Gaethje. Excuse me, that was actually not his last fight. He is coming off of a decision win to Ignacio Bahamondes. He fought really, really well in that fight. Before that, he was TKO'd by Mateusz Gamrot. I have a feeling that fight ended in an injury, but I'm not certain. I can't really remember how that ended though, because I've never seen Mateusz Gamrot with a knockout win before. He was supposed to fight Charles Oliveira. That fight ended up getting canceled. So I do feel a little bit bad for him. He's a very, very talented fighter. Mauricio Rufy, he is that up and comer. He has looked like a monster recently in the UFC. He did have that wheel kick knockout over Bobby Green, King Green, as he is now called.
King Green.
Benoit Saint Denis, who's also on this card, just had he showed those colors even before the Dustin Poirier fight. He showed it during the Dustin Poirier fight, but he fought a legend in Dustin Poirier that he ended up losing that fight. So he has a loss under Benoit Saint Denis, but this is one of those tough ones where I think I'm going to go with my gut, and I'm going to say Rafael Fiziev. I think Mauricio Rufy is that guy. I think this is going to be a huge, huge test for him. And honestly, if I could share a stat, when one fighting nerd wins, they all tend to win. That is why I am staying away from this fight. Because I am choosing Rafael Fiziev. I'm just not the most confident. I'm not very bullish on it. But when one loses, they all lose. When one wins, they all win. Since John Silva's coming off of a win, it would be a pretty good guess to say that Rufy's going to win as well. I just think I think it's Rafael Fiziev's time. I think he's got a little bit more in the tank. And I think a loss here would do a lot of damage rather than a win. So I think he's going to fight like that. So give me Fiziev by decision.
All right, moving on to this has fight of the night potential, I feel. Dan Hooker versus Benoit Saint Denis. Al?
Yeah, give me Dan Hooker. Majority of the decision is kind of his name. Not gonna lie, just Dan Hooker. I think it just sounds like a fighter. Also, his tattoos are sick, and I think he's just gonna win. He's from New Zealand, kind of close to home, not too far away. So I'm gonna go Dan Hooker.
Zach?
He does have sweet tattoos. I think this is a really tough pick. I honestly don't really trust either of these guys. Dan Hooker, looked very bad in his last fight. He was facing a grappler, which I believe BSD is a grappler. I wouldn't say he's a super great one, but he does tend to grapple. Like I said, I think it can go either way, but I'll say BSD. I think Dan Hooker is kind of getting up there in age, and maybe 3-4 years ago I would have picked Dan Hooker, but it really pains me to say I think he's on his way out, and BSD will kind of lead a path to him retiring eventually.
Joey, Hooker versus BSD.
A Dan Hooker win here would feed families for generations. I am a huge Dan Hooker fan. Dan Hooker versus Dustin Poirier is one of the greatest fights of all time. That happened during the pandemic. You could hear the shots from both of them because of the cage being so silent, because of the arena being so silent. It was a very, very fun fight. Look, Dan Hooker, yes, I think you can say he is kind of on his way out. He just hit that 35 mark, I believe, last year. Listen, he's coming off of the loss to Arman Tsarukyan, who is the touted next guy. Dan Hooker has this problem where if he feels that grappling is going to occur, he will fight with his hands lower. Benoit Saint Denis is a very good wrestler. I think this could definitely be one of those big upset fights, and for Dan Hooker's sake, I hope it is. because Dan Hooker is one of those favorite fighters. He can do no wrong. It wouldn't shock me to see kind of a replay of what happened with him versus Michael Chandler, though. He's kind of expecting the takedown and he gets hooked to the face, knocked out. I hope not. I want Dan Hooker to win. I'm going to go with my head. Benoit Saint-Denis.
All right. Now, for the title fight, Alexander Volkanovski versus Diego Lopez. Al, what do you got for me?
Yeah, I'm gonna take Volk again. I know that they fought. I think it was 314 back when they had their first matchup. Joey, is that right? 314.
That's right.
Yeah, I'm gonna. I think he goes. I think he ends the trilogy here. I think as long as Volk can control the clinch, I think he just wins the fight outright.
Zach?
I think we are taking a time machine back to UFC 314 and seeing Volk win in a similar fashion. I think it'll be a decision. I think this fight might be a little closer than the last one. I could see it being 3-2 Volk, but ultimately I think Volk will get the victory in his hometown. He's just too technical, too polished. I think Diego Lopez is a really scary guy, and I think he has the potential to be champion after Volk retires, which I also think after this fight, it's in Sydney, in Australia. Volk doesn't have much more to prove. He's getting older. I think this could potentially be Volk's last fight if we see him hopefully get a victory and ride off into the sunset and be cooking with Volk.
Joey? Volk versus Lopez?
So when you see a rematch, you have to ask yourself, what changed since the last time these two guys fought? Sometimes it's as simple as it's just the passage of time. I believe when they fought the first time, Alexander Volkanovski was 36. He's now 37. You know, he's another year older. Does that matter? We really don't know. I mean, it all depends. Does that impact how fast he is? Does that impact his strength? More than anything, does that impact the factors that made him beat Diego Lopez the first time? Here's the thing. I think it was Diego Lopez's first shot at the title. When you can kind of look at this and kind of see, well, nothing's changed, you are almost obliged to go with the guy who won. Alexander Volkanovski is the underdog in this fight. I think there's good reason for it. I think Diego Lopez is entering a prime in terms of speed, strength, and ability. I think he is the guy that could have learned more from their last outing than Alexander Volkanovski could have. I agree. If Volk wins or loses, this might be it for him at that age. But you never really know anymore. Fighters are kind of sticking around for a longer period of time. I'm gonna go with Diego Lopez to win by decision.
All right. And that kind of sums up our UFC 325 preview. And I kind of want to just hop right in to our locks, what we think is going to happen. And I'm going to go ahead and start with mine here because, like I said, I've been really excited for this one. I did a little bit of independent research here, and my casual research, and here's what I got. I actually am from the future. I came back in a time machine. I've already seen this event, so I know what's going to happen. So, Keen Salkid by decision. Teixeira is going to knock out. He's going to upset him. You know, he's the lower ranked guy. He's going to win by knockout. I got Fiziev. Joe, you pronounce it. Fiziev. I got him Fiziev by decision. I think Hooker's going to get a knockout in his hometown, and that might be not his hometown, but in close to New Zealand. You know, he's the home fighter here, and that might sound crazy, but I think he is going to feed families, and he's going to get the knockout. And then I have Diego Lopez by decision. Volk is going to be shocked. The world is going to be shocked. Australia is going to cry. Diego Lopez is going to win. And I feel like the only people who are going to defend Australia is going to be Keen Salkid, and then Hooker's going to do it for the Kiwis. But other than that, I think this is going to be an absolute invasion by the Brazilians, and they're going to win. What are your picks here, Al?
The only pick that I am confident in is Dan Hooker. Everything else, I don't know. The only other thing I can think of is maybe that the Volk fight is ended in not in a decision, but like someone gets finished in it. But those are the only two picks that I even remotely feel confident in.
Zach, give me your UFC 325 block of the week.
I feel like this card is one of the kind of toughest to pick in recent memory, and I feel like there's just a ton of traps in general. So we're gonna go with the kind of boring parlay to hopefully make you guys some money. We're going Volk money line. We're going, how do you say his name? Quinlan.
Kian Sakid.
We're going him just because minus 1,000. We're just throwing him on there to make some more money. We're going BSC Dan Hooker over 1.5 rounds. I honestly think this fight will go to decision, but I don't think either fighter is getting to finish early. And we're going Rufi Fiziev to go the distance. Not sure who's going to win. I think it's going to be a close fight, but I don't think there will be a finish.
All right, Joe. The people have been waiting for this. You went 100% last week. Can you show us that this wasn't just luck and you are the future?
Guys, I need you guys to ride with me and just understand the expression of scared money does not make money. It's gonna have to be one of those days. On my parlay, 3 of my 5 picks are underdog picks. Um, Therese Finney money line. I'm very very confident in that. I genuinely think that he is going to get this done for us. I would expect it to be a decision, just because of the grappling aspect. Oban Elliott, I think it's going to be a very good fight. Um, this is one of those things where I think McAuliffe, just for the sake of nobody really knowing who he is, he can shock us a little bit. But I think Oban Elliott has a very good tool set to win this fight. Uh, we're gonna add on Billy Alekina. Honestly, I'm sorry, Junior Tafia. I really hope you win, but for the sake of my parlay and my fellow tailors, please don't. Um, Cam Roston as well, and then this is what I will be very very excited for. Again, I expect Tuivasa to be gun shy. I expect Teixeira to be gun shy. Give me over 1.5 rounds for that fight to go. So all of these will be decided by then. Once Tai Tuivasa versus Taliesin Teixeira comes on, we are going to be waiting for round 2, minute 2:24, and once that hits, you can enjoy the rest of the card worry free. That is my parlay for UFC 325.
Those are disputed picks, and we hope that we can see the future. We know that Joey can see the future based on the last episode, but we hope that maybe we have 4 people that can all kind of show you the future and help make you guys a little bit of money and you guys can tail. Now, I want to bring into this segment Fight of the Week. And you might be thinking, well, we just went through all of the fights. What do you mean Fight of the Week? Well, I'm going to present to you a Fight of the Week that, if it were to happen, I just want to get who you guys would think would win and why. And so the Fight of the Week, we're going to keep it UFC inspired. Let's go Joe Rogan versus Dana White. Who do you guys have winning? The floor is open.
Dana White have good grappling, but no one checked the grappling. We're going Joe Rogan, submission, 30 seconds in the round 1. Dana White used to be a boxer, a pretty good boxer for those of you who don't know, but Rogan's roided up. He's a black belt in jiu-jitsu. We're going Rogan, submission, round 1.
What do you got for me, Al?
Are we just going in order? Honestly, I think Joe Rogan has eaten a little too much elk meat. I don't think it's that good for you. I think that he's going to kind of gas out a little quickly. Dana White, on the other hand, he's working all this time. He's got a lot on his plate already, and I think he ought to let out some steam. Give me Dana White via let me win or you're fired.
Oh, bringing in the business side of it. Alex, what do you got for me?
I think if it's Joe Rogan after he's done like every psychedelic on his podcast, give me Joe Rogan. I think if it's just mano a mano, just put him in a cage, I still think Joe Rogan. I think the only way Dana White wins is if Joe Rogan is tied up pretty much. I don't think that there's. I think that's obvious. Joe Rogan just wins that fight.
I think the bigger question is, do they drug test them before the fight?
I don't think you could drug test either
No.
one of them. They both would fail.
Fair enough. Well, with that being said, we pick the oh my gosh, the disputed cast picks Joe Rogan to beat Dana White in the fight of the week, and I just want to thank you guys if you've made it this far for tuning into the second episode of Disputed. We had a bigger crew this time. It wasn't just me and Joey yapping for about an hour. We had more takes, more debates, more opinions, and hopefully more right picks. If you guys like this episode and you like, the cast, please leave a like, share it, continue to watch. We're bringing you guys all the action. We have a great UFC season ahead, big fight night next week as well, so make sure to tune in. Thanks all for watching.